como normalmente se hacen. Ahorita vamos a estar viendo un video para estar reaccionando y estar viendo qué es lo que se está hablando acerca de esto. No sé si han oído hablar de Cliff Nexchell. Hace contenido en Estados Unidos acerca de la Biblia. Él va a colegios, de repente se pone en debates. Y bueno, vamos a estar viendo acerca de este hombre. Vamos viendo a ver cómo se ve, si se escucha bien. Si se escucha bien. Muy bien. Vamos viendo este pequeño fragmento. Vamos a hacerlo como prueba. Este es como un piloto solamente. Vamos a estar probando para ver si funciona bien todo. Y bueno, vamos a ver si todo queda bien. A ver, vamos a checar. Por aquí le pudimos... A ver. Ok, vamos a ir directamente hacia el video para ver qué es lo que nos dice. Hay una pequeña disculpa, apenas estamos probando todo esto, no es la primera vez que estoy con este programa. Pero bueno, vamos hacia allá.
Okay. Talk about human body. Let's say like Grand Canyon. That looks beautiful. Sculptors and painters try to come up with beautiful patterns like that all the time and often fail. Sunset. We try to paint beautiful sunsets, and we try to paint beautiful works of art, but nature has something more beautiful. I think that these sorts of patterns, these sorts of... it's not as straightforwardly looking like a designer, but you're getting there. You're getting to things that are complex, beautiful, interesting. You have things like ecosystems, the water cycle. All these things really do look like they took a little bit of thought, but they didn't.
Tiene debates con estos jóvenes.
You and I are walking up and down the beach, and we come across ripples in the sand. And you ask me, hey, Cliff, how'd those ripples get there? And I say, well, obviously the waves. The waves washed over the sand and those ripples are there. You'd accept that as reasonable. But if we walk further down the beach and we see John loves Mary written in the sand, and if you ask me, hey, Cliff, how did that occur? And I say, well, because the waves washed up and down the sand. That's ludicrous. Why? When you have densely packed information, it demands an intelligent mind. The waves do not write in the sand, John loves Mary. There is too much densely packed information there. The DNA of a single cell has more densely packed information than 3 sets of the Encyclopedia Britannica. To argue that the DNA and the amount of densely packed information that is in the DNA of a single cell is just an accident is preposterous to me. Densely packed information demands an intelligent mind. There's got to be some type of creator. Charles Darwin pointed out that if you could show that something was not irreducibly complex, the whole idea that evolution has an origin would be blown to bits. Well, a single cell, a single living cell is irreducibly complex. A single living cell cannot go from one simple state to the next simple state to the next simple state until it suddenly becomes a living cell. It's irreducibly complex.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's far more reasonable for me to believe in the beginning God than it is for me to believe in the beginning matter and energy, or in the beginning nothing. That's why belief in God is so wide.
Un punto muy claro. Hay muchos argumentos acerca de la existencia de Dios que, bueno, la ciencia ha tratado de ir en contra de esto, tratando de decir Dios no existe, pero bueno, las pruebas son grandes. Incluso la misma ciencia ha corroborado lo que dice la palabra de Dios. Si gustan buscar este programa Give Me an Answer, está en YouTube y tiene mucho material muy
It's not a
interesante.
scientific question, it's a philosophical question, sir.
I agree with you.
So I don't care how dumb science is, I don't care how intelligent science is. Science is simply not the issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wonderful branch of knowledge, but
Exactly.
you're never going to scientifically prove God, you're never going to scientifically disprove God. Instead, it's a philosophical, theological question, does God exist? And see, the question is there an intelligent mind behind the process, is not a scientific question. Science says nothing about that. It's a philosophical question. So, when you ask yourself, what is the meaning of life? That is not a scientific question. But we all love to live our lives as if there is some type of meaning. Well, let's ask ourselves, why do we insist upon living life as if life has meaning? I would argue because the evidence is we were hardwired in such a way as to understand meaning and purpose in life. But if there is no God, life is meaningless, sir. She can do whatever she wants to. That's her worldview. So she can do whatever she wants to.
Actually, I'm not allowed to say my worldview because these are sexist who don't like to let women speak.
Man, you can speak anytime you want to.
Your God's right, but I don't believe in the Bible.
Why is woman valuable?
What?
Why is woman valuable?
I don't really know, according to you.
Well, if you accuse both of us of being sexist, I'm sure you have some type of view of why woman is valuable. Now tell us, why is woman valuable? We're two sexist guys.
You.
Yeah?
Myself as a human on this earth.
Yes.
I'm a citizen of the world, and my purpose is to do good. You're spreading hate and saying that your chosen people who believe in your Bible are correct.
That's not what I've said at all.
Correct. Yes, you're trying to be an absolute
I said flat out to this man, I said, if I say I believe in Jesus and hate him, what am I?
You're
and this guy,
hypocrite, and
thank
you.
you.
Are a hypocrite,
exactly.
And that's why you're up
so
here
you know
talking.
very, very well that if anybody says I believe in Jesus and I hate women or I hate people, they're a hypocrite. Because Christ commands his followers to love.
Different than you, they're wrong.
Pardon?
And that's what you're saying, and it's just annoying. I'm so sick of seeing this bull on campus. Can't you go film your little project somewhere else?
Look,
like, I am so tired of just having to walk around on my campus and get preached at about the Bible. Like, go somewhere else. I don't want to go away. I want this to go away. Because guess what I believe? I believe that I am God. I am God. I am my own God.
What does that mean, you're God?
It means that I create my own reality and I manifest what I want to see in this world.
Go create your own reality somewhere else. We're trying to have a discussion.
Yeah, I am creating my own reality right here. I'm saying your discussion is stupid and it shouldn't go on. It's pointless.
We disagree with each other, so we're respecting and disagreeing.
Look, there's a difference between what you're doing and what we're doing. What you're doing is you're disrespecting both of us, just talking over us. You literally said you're God. And what we're trying to do is have an intelligent discussion. We disagree, fundamentally.
You're having an intelligent discussion by misquoting people and spreading misinformation. It's annoying, and I'm making a mockery of you because that's what it deserves
I'm
to be
sorry
made of
we're annoying you, but there's a real virtue in being intellectually honest and trying to air your opinions out and learn the weaknesses of your views and the strengths of other views. That's why even if I disagree with this man, I respect him. I'm glad he comes here.
I don't want him coming in here anymore. I want him to leave.
Siempre tiene que haberle coherencia en alguien.
Right, I'm convinced that you have value because you're not pawn scum evolved to a higher order. You're a human being, a precious human being created in the image of God. And God loves you so much.
I don't believe I'm created in the image of your God. I'm
not
created
my
in
God.
the image of a matrilineal God. Why don't you talk about the pagan religions that existed before the Bible ever? Why is history confined to you to a really small period
What
of time?
pagan God do you believe in?
All of them.
Which one?
All of them. I believe in the African gods. I believe in the Celtic gods. I believe in the Buddhist gods and the Hindu gods.
Jesus Christ.
I think he's a story. Like any other story.
Good story, bad story?
I mean, I guess it's a pretty good story because it's made its way into lots of literature. And there's lots of dark magic stuff you can read about resurrecting yourself. So, I mean, I think he was a practitioner of black magic, yes.
Is there anybody else other than Jesus that you know of that's risen from the dead?
I know the Nazis were experimenting with it, and they did a lot of black magic experimentations.
The Nazis?
Yeah.
But they didn't really raise anybody from the dead, did they?
I mean, there's lots of stories about people raising from the dead. It's a very common story throughout all of the Greek mythology, and the sun god in particular is very common. Like if you know the story of Apollo, I mean, it's just a motif that repeats itself over and over again, the story of the sun god. Right? I mean, the resurrection is all part of it.
Right.
And I mean, I'm sure you know about Constantine too, right? Like, the Byzantine Empire and how Constantine merged pagan values together with the Christian holidays to create harmony, so that Christianity actually has a lot of elements of older pagan religions involved in it that were enmeshed together as a political movement and not part of anything necessarily religious. And then there's a lot of aspects of Christianity that are political and not necessarily religious. And a lot of people use religion to justify political goals
They
and
sure do.
suppress people.
We agree. We absolutely agree. Now let me
Pero
ask
bueno,
you
es un
something. Are you
punto
a follower
válido,
of
¿verdad?
Christ?
Todos tienen una
Yes?
opinión.
Yes, ma'am. Could you come here a second? Now, why would this woman be a follower of Jesus Christ in light of the fact that 100 years ago, in this state, in this country, white Christians oppressed her great-grandmother and great-grandfather? See, I would argue that this woman has a real open mind. This woman is not going to give a white Christian racist the power to turn her off to the true Jesus Christ, who did not have a racist bone in his body. Instead, in his best-known parable, the parable of the Good Samaritan, found in Luke chapter 10,
Samaritano.
Jesus makes a direct frontal attack on racism. So you see, this woman has not given people who've abused Christ, twisted Christ, the power to turn her off to the true Jesus, who didn't have a racist bone in his body, who attacked racism, and communicated that all people have equal value because we're all created in the image of God.
And I would argue that she's had her culture stolen by white men like you, who have suppressed her mother homeland religion and her African roots by telling her the ethocentric view of Christianity she must accept to fit into your society.
Good. Now listen to her speak. And I've spoken? Now, ma'am, have you accepted Jesus Christ into your life because white people have forced you or brainwashed your mom and dad?
No, it's clear. You can look at the Bible and see that he obviously doesn't agree with slavery.
Good.
And that slavery was taken out of context and twisted what the Bible said to fit something that was economically profitable at that time.
Does she sound brainwashed to you?
Do you know your ancestors? Do you know your great-grandmother, your grandmother before that? Do you know where they came from?
Yeah.
And where did they come from? What's their history?
Africa being brought here as slaves.
And do you know anything about their oral traditions? Do you know what they believed in Africa? Do you know what tribe they belonged to? Or has your history been stolen from you?
Just because I'm not there now, that's not to say I would still be there even if people had, even if the slave trade hadn't existed. That's not to say that I would have stayed in Africa anyway. I could have ended up in Europe or here just as easily.
But do you not want to know about your ancestors and their time when they were in Africa? Do you not think it's worth? Do you not think their culture is worth something? Or do you prefer the culture that has been given to you by the white people?
I don't think making me a follower of Christ means I don't want to know my history and ancestry.
Maybe you haven't sought out that information. I can tell you everything about my ancestors.
Okay, that's not a case for against Christ anymore. If I could do the research and tell you history about my ancestors as well, that's still not going to change the truth of Christ.
That's a very good point. Did you get it?
Yeah, I think I got it.
Good. Think about it. That woman spoke sad. Your thinking is rather denigrating of this woman, and I don't agree with you. I have far more respect for her than you do, obviously.
I mean, obviously, since you're saying it, I mean, that's your claim.
No, you're accusing her of being brainwashed and hoodwinked by white people and white oppressors. She's a free, autonomous individual who thinks what she wants to. And we both agree that the white folks who, in the name of Christ, enslaved her grandparents or great-grandparents were totally contradicting Jesus Christ. And it was tragic and evil. And by the way, it wasn't relatively evil because I'm an enlightened, liberal white guy. It's wrong because all human beings are created in the image of God with an innate value, and the enslavement of African Americans in the United States was absolutely evil, not subjectively evil, because I happen to have a degree from an American university.
But
who gives a rip?
It's not evil to not give rights to homosexuals. I mean,
I, as a follower of Christ, respect the right of a homosexual as a human being.
You called their sex bestiality, man.
No, I did not, and that is you are so intellectually dishonest, that's scary. I did not.
Them to having sex with
I did not compare that at all.
You made the
No,
analogy to
I am
Kosu.
insisting, I did not, and you're being intellectually dishonest. What I said was, if
I'm
there
actually
is
being
no
correct,
God,
quoting you well.
and if morality is relative, then what is the basis for saying that me having sex with my golden retriever is wrong? It's exactly what I was driving at. And if you didn't get the point, you're not listening.
Because it's not wrong.
Thank you. It's not wrong. If there is no God, and if morality is relative, there's nothing wrong with me having sex with my golden retriever.
Exacto.
And I don't care how many reasons you want to give me or you want to give me that it's
Si no
wrong.
quiere
That's your
entender, más bien
subjective
no quiere
opinion.
entender.
And you better have the intellectual consistency to realize that if there is no God and morality is relative, that if I want to have sex with my golden retriever, for you to tell me that's wrong, bug off. You're an arrogant twit. If everything's relative, let's just live and let live. And if you want to have sex with anything that vibrates, nothing wrong with that.
And how
And
does
if I
that
want to
relate
have
to
sex
homosexuals?
with a golden
Bring it back
retriever,
to your
something
point.
wrong with that. Now, I'm obviously convinced that sex is not an accident. I'm convinced that sex is a gift from God. And because it's a gift from God, there's a purpose for our sexuality. And that's outlined in Genesis 2:24, where we read, "For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother, be united to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh."
How do you explain like Greco-Roman society? How do you explain a society that existed as long as ours, where people practiced pretty much polygamous sexuality? The wife was to marry and produce children, and they had sex with virgin brides, and then a man was also free to have a mistress or sex with other men if they wanted
Se
to.
le llama
Sounds like America today.
paciencia.
Sounds like America today to you.
Yeah. And it sounds like Roman society. Julius Caesar was every woman's man and every man's man, so Julius Caesar was obviously bisexual. Sounds like Canaanite society. The Canaanites were very clear.
So do you
Sex
believe
with a
that
man,
black
with a
people
woman,
wear
with
the
an
mark
animal,
of
no
Cain?
problem. Sex with
Is
whoever
that
you
in the
want.
Bible?
Una
Pardon?
total
That
locura.
black people wear the mark of Cain. That's in the Bible.
No, it is not. Show me where in the Bible it says that black people wear the mark of Cain. Show me that.
Lots of racist stuff
Are
in
you
the
a
Bible.
racist?
Really, give me one example.
Dude, there's tons of it. And then how also do you explain Mormons? I mean, what about Mormons?
Yeah,
Do
you got out of the
support
kitchen because it was
Mormons?
getting hot. I don't blame you. You got out of that kitchen real
I
fast.
mean, no. I just don't want to. I mean, if you want to go into it, the Bible
Yeah,
does
that's what we're trying to do.
support
Go into it. Where does the Bible say that
Solo queda
African
reírse.
Americans
In the Bible.
are the children of Cain? Where does the Bible say
The
that?
Bible talks about the mark of Cain, and you can interpret the Bible any way you can. And until recently, lots of
No,
racist,
you can't.
racist biblical
You
sects
can't
like
interpret the Bible any way you can and be
Yeah, you
intellectually
can.
honest.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, well, you can do
Darle
anything you
sentido propio
want.
y así no, así
Right?
no se lee.
Yeah, but you don't have to have a PhD in the Bible to understand that those slave owners who used the Bible to justify slavery were perverting the living daylights out of it.
I think you're perverting it by saying that homosexuality is wrong.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the
salió otro.
scriptures
Then why can't you
communicate
say you
that
support
homosexuality is
sexuality
wrong. That's
and
all
that
it's
you
that's all we're
embrace
saying.
homosexuals? Why can't you say you like them?
No, you can read it for yourself. Read Romans chapter
Pero
1,
la
1
verdad
Corinthians
tiene que
chapter
ser
6,
hablada.
1 Timothy chapter 1, and
So
it's
you
very
don't
clear
like homosexuals. Are you
that
making that statement?
the practice of homosexual sex is communicated in the Bible
so
as being
are you
wrong.
condemning homosexuals?
No, I don't condemn anybody. It's not my
Okay.
job to
No,
condemn
me-
anybody.
Timoteo,
Why can't you say
Corintios,
homosexuals are great, equal
Levítico.
beings, and we love them as much as everyone else?
Oh, I can promise you, homosexuals are equal to all of us in value, and I love homosexuals, and I invite homosexuals to come to the church where I'm a pastor. I have homosexual friends
Dios ama su
who I
humanidad.
treasure. So I don't know where you're getting off with this whole idea that if you follow Christ, you have to hate homosexuals. That's totally baloney. If you follow Christ, you have to love homosexuals.
Pues no por ser cristiano significa
Their
que
lifestyle, then. I mean,
No.
that
Debe
de haber
should be an
odio.
advocate
I've got
for
a lot
their
of friends who
por eso es
fornicate
el evangelio, ¿no?
on a
Por eso es el
weekly
evangelio,
basis.
llevar el
And I
evangelio a
tell
las
them
personas.
fornication is wrong. I've got a
Todos
lot of friends who are
necesitamos de Dios.
adulterers. And I tell them adultery is wrong.
Todos
Why?
se
Because
desviaron
according
a
to
una, se
Christ,
hicieron inútiles.
sex
No hay quien
outside
haga
of
lo bueno,
marriage,
no
be
hay
it
ni siquiera
fornication or
uno.
adultery, are twisting that beautiful gift of sex that God gave us. So, be you an adulterer, be you a practicing homosexual, be you a guy who's into pornography, I'm going to continue to
So you
communicate
do not
Jesus
believe
loves
that
you.
people-
Never
Voy a
once did I
pararle
say
un poco
that.
aquí, me
You're
salió un
totally
imprevisto,
misquoting me.
tengo
You
que
don't
salir.
listen well, man.
Entonces
Never once did
continuamos
I
en
say
la
the
tarde.
purpose of sex is to have
Si ahí
babies.
por ahí
Never
le
once.
escucharon de repente unos
Then what's the
llantos,
purpose of sex?
Thank you for asking that good question. I appreciate it.
los bebés.
So I can get it
los bebés.
directly from you.
Entonces
You
continuamos
bet,
en la
thank you.
tarde, vamos a pararle aquí un
Okay, the
poco.
first reason for
Está muy
sex
interesante
is that a male and a
este
female.
video. Entonces que el Señor les bendiga. Muchas gracias por su tiempo. y nos vemos en la tarde.